All right, everybody, I figure it was time I give you a 6-month review on my 458 Italia and what the ownership experience has been like during that time frame. Now, I know it's actually been about, I don't know, a little over 7.5 months now that I've owned the car, but still, we had a lot of storms at the beginning of the year, so we might as well call it a 6-month review. During that time frame, I have managed to put about 3,300 miles on the car and have gone all over the state in it and have attended close to a half dozen different Ferrari Owners Club events, a number of Ferrari factory events as well. And so today we're gonna go ahead and talk about all things related to the 458 Italia. What it's been like living with the car, what it's been like going to these events and meeting other owners, what it's been like being out in public and people seeing the car and their response to it, what type of costs I've incurred with the car, and just everything in between. For starters, the driving experience of the car, as you would expect, has been amazing. It is hands down the best car I've ever owned and one of the best cars I've probably ever driven. And that's saying a lot because I've driven a lot of cars and owned a lot of cars, but none of them can do what this car does the way it does it. And it just feels so natural to be in this car, driving it for long distances and having a great time in it. Just this past weekend, I took it out for 2 events. On a Saturday, I went on a Ferrari Owners Club event and spent 15 hours that day. And of course, not all 15 hours were in the car, but I put 350 miles on the car that day. And then the very next day, I went to a car event in Watsonville and put another 300 plus miles on the car and spent all day out. Now, something that I've definitely noticed driving the 458 these long days and long hauls compared to like driving my Viper is at the end of the day, I don't feel worn out and beat up. The Ferrari, while it is a stiff suspension and is loud, it still doesn't beat you up like the Viper does, and you also don't have the heat aspect of it because the exhaust, the drivetrain, everything is behind you, whereas on the Viper you've got the exhaust running through the side rockers, and so you basically are turning yourself into a little oven. The cockpit, of course, is also a lot smaller on the Viper than it is in the Ferrari, so there's just more heat, more confinedness. And I know on top of that, besides my discomfort at the end of the day, the car itself, in the temperatures we've been having well, last couple of months, especially this last weekend, hitting triple digits, the Ferrari doesn't even bat an eye at it. I mean, most of the time if I'm not sitting in traffic, I'm just cruising along, even if it's triple digits out and I've got the AC blaring, the car's running at like 180 degrees. If I get stuck in traffic and it's over 100 out, it's creeped up to like 195, maybe 200, but that's it. Whereas, say the poor Viper over here would probably run at like 220 or 230 in those situations, and I'd probably be looking at pulling off and waiting until the traffic broke up. So from that experience, just comparing the two, I know I've done a video in the past comparing the two, but now I've got even more seat time with the 458, you really notice not only just the performance aspect of it, but doing the long hauls and how you feel at the end of the day. Because I was thinking about just going on Saturday and not going on Sunday this past weekend, and I woke up Sunday refreshed and feeling great, so I figured, you know what? Let's go spend another full day out in the car and having a great time. And so from that standpoint, performance, comfort, all of that in the car is everything I could ask for and then some. It's been a truly amazing driving experience and is probably one of the best driving cars of all time. I know a lot of people say it's the peak for V8 Ferraris, and I'm inclined to agree with that. I mean, there was definitely some issues with the earlier cars. There's some different issues with the newer cars, not being naturally aspirated. A lot of people are hard on that for being the turbos. Now, from a reliability and cost standpoint, so far it's just been putting gas in it, really, and then paying my insurance premium. There hasn't been anything weird with the car, no lights popping up on the dash or anything, no issues, no hiccups, and no need to take it into the service center and have it checked out. I also, of course, since it hasn't even been a year yet, haven't sent it in for its annual service. So we'll check back again after we go through our first annual service at the end of this year and give you an update on what the costs look like. But for the most part, it's just been putting gas in it. And of course it gets mid-teens on the mileage. If you're driving really spiritedly, you probably dip into the low teens, but that's the way it goes sometimes. You didn't buy this car to get 40 miles to the gallon. You get it for the miles per gallon. Now, from the club perspective, that has also been favorable for the most part. So I've been to a variety of events. I've joined the Ferrari Owners Club. I understand there are multiple clubs. There's the Ferrari Club of America, there's Ferrari Owners Group, Ferrari Owners Club. I joined the Ferrari Owners Club at the recommendation of a friend of mine who was a member of that club. And I was reluctant to get involved in clubs in the first place because of how things had gone with both the Viper Club and to a lesser extent with the Challengers and the Mopars clubs. So I definitely wanted to try and shine away from that because I didn't want to have the bad taste left in my mouth from the other clubs that I'd had. And so I went ahead and decided, yes, I'll go ahead and join this club, give them a year, feel them out, see how their events go, and go from there. But on the flip side, unlike the other clubs I've been in, there was no way I was gonna get involved at a leadership level or a planning level. I was just gonna go, enjoy, and have a good time. Now, something that was important for me when purchasing the Ferrari, which is why I was adamant I had to buy my car from Ferrari of San Francisco, was the factory support and going to factory related events. And I know I bought a used car, an 11-year-old car at this point, and I'm not going out and buying multiple Ferraris a year and things of that nature, but being able to have that, start building that relationship with the dealership and start getting invited to events has been great so far. So I've already gone to 2 events. I've got another one coming up, and they've just been, the hospitality has been amazing, and the people that I've gotten to meet at those events has been great. Again, just like with the club, meeting new people and stuff has always been a lot of fun. The 2 events I've went to so far was the unveiling of the new Puro Sangue. You saw my video on that on Father's Day about the Perfect Dad Mobile. Went and saw that and had a great time. Got to get up close and personal with the car, hop in it, climb around, check it out. So that was really cool. Like I mentioned in that video, we didn't get to drive it that day because it was just a static display and unveiling. It wasn't a ride and drive type of event, but still being able to be invited and go, even though they knew that I wasn't gonna be ordering one, was still really nice. And then after that, I was able to go to a Ferrari San Francisco track day / test day in preparations for Ferrari Challenge. And they had a couple of different options for their clients. You could either go as a non-driving guest or you go and do track days. And you could either do a single day or both days of the weekend, which was really amazing. And so they broke it out into 3 run groups. You had a beginner, you had an advanced, and then you had actual race cars. And it was a lot of fun. And my wife and my daughter and I, we went both days and had an absolute blast both days. We spent almost the entire day there, both Saturday and Sunday, talking with folks, other owners, and talking with some of the folks from Ferrari of San Francisco, and just had an amazing, relaxing day. And I really hope they have that event again. This was the second time that they've had this type of an event. And so I definitely plan on going in future again if I have the opportunity and they do host that event again. And we've got another one coming up here in a couple of weeks. And so I'm looking forward to that as well. You'll probably see a video on that in the future. And it's just a lot of fun to be able to start building that relationship with the manufacturer, because I would like to one day become a higher end client with them and be able to buying more cars on a somewhat more frequent basis. What that means, time will tell. I definitely probably won't be one of their very top clients, and that takes some serious spending power, but still, being able to get invited to purchase more cars and things like that in the future, I think would be a lot of fun. Now, one more aspect from all of the ownership experiences, how has my interaction with just general people out and about when they see the car, how's that been? And it's been a little surprising. I'm not from a negative or positive standpoint. The overall experience has been great. I know most people are really excited to see the car and that I'm out driving it. They ask questions and stuff, but it's been even more involved from other folks compared to any other car I've ever driven. I mean, even the Viper, nothing compares to the attention this car gets. Now, part of it probably is that it's really bright yellow. But when we go places, my wife, of course, will usually follow in her Durango because she has our daughter with her and we just can't all 3 fit in the Ferrari. And it's funny, every time we take both cars out, she'll be following me and we'll get to our destination. She's like, at least half, if not 2/3 of the people you went by all looked and were checking out the car, which of course I can't really notice most of that just because I'm focused on the road and stuff, but her being behind me, she can see that. but also when I'm going out and just driving around town and stuff, or driving in whatever town that I'm in, just having kids hanging out of windows of their cars, cheering, giving thumbs up, all that fun stuff. It's just really great. Of course, I try and smile and wave back and stuff, and just, it's really cool to see that type of response. I'm sure I've gotten really positive responses in like the Challenger and the Viper and stuff when I take them out, but nothing like I've seen in the Ferrari. It's really unique, and it's really fun. I like to go ahead and think of myself as someone who's trying to change the stereotypical owner perception of Ferrari owners as stuck-up snobs who don't care about anybody. And so anytime I see somebody that's showing interest, I try to at the very least acknowledge their interest, and if I have the ability to stop and talk with them and stuff, I do. And I can't tell you how many gas station conversations I've had with the cars so far in the last 6 months. So it's been a very overwhelmingly positive experience interacting with people. There have been some folks that have had negative responses to it. Usually those tend to be online though, not in person, which I find interesting, but I'm also not surprised because you get that keyboard warrior aspect going from it. And it tends to typically not be rooted in anything tangible or real. It's just their own perceptions. And sometimes I've been able to sway them and change their perceptions, and in others, they still think I'm some rich snob and blowing my money where I shouldn't be. So can't make everybody happy, but then again, I'm not trying to. So that's the 6 months has been, and it's been an amazing experience as I was expecting, even more amazing than I probably had thought, and I'm really looking forward to the next 6 months and years going forward with this car. Now, of course, who would expect that there would be a bad ownership experience with this car? I'm sure there's some of you out there that probably think it's a terrible car to own and poor decisions to have it, but I can tell you it is an amazing car, an absolutely incredible experience, and I'm really fortunate and really blessed to be in the position that I am to have it. And I hope that if you dream to one day have your own Ferrari, that you too reach that dream.